All right, it is time to begin. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We are live with a webinar on what to do with business uncertainty. And so I'm going to spend a few minutes of your time. I'll call this one Walking the Tightrope. It's not something I know how to do in terms of actually walking on a tightrope, but I am excited to walk you through what that means from a business perspective, and in particular for entrepreneurs, and how to hopefully engage some tools along the way that will help you perform better, do better, and be able to handle uncertainty. And so we're going to begin right away. I'm going to start off by just giving you some housekeeping introductions and some things. Firstly, welcome here. I know this is your time is valuable, and we want to get something great out of it together. So I'm going to share with you some concepts. Our goal is to help build better lives here, and so I hope that somehow this interacts with you, resonates in a certain way. So welcome here. We are recording this session so that it can be available later, and I trust that's helpful for you. If you need to scroll back in and hear something again or see it over again, that's awesome. Your microphone will be muted, I believe, and your cameras are not on. So you can do whatever you want, I think, while you're doing this. If that's cooking breakfast or if it's making lunch or whatever it is that you're doing, go ahead and do that. You can see me, I hope, or whatever you need to, and we'll keep moving that way. And so that'll be great. The session is about 45 minutes with a 15-minute Q&A at the end, and we'll take whatever time we need to answer questions. And if you have a question you want to just save for later in a private function or something like that, then sure, just hold on to that one and let us know at the end. We can tell you how to connect with us and keep moving ahead. So when we do the Q&A, if you have something along the way, just pop it into that Q&A text function at the bottom, a little tab at the bottom of your screen. Ask your question that way, and then we can get to them at the end. So excited to see what you'll come up with today along the way. And really, I just want to say, welcome here. We've got some objectives, but I'm first going to start with who we are and what we're up to. So I am Everett Duerksen. I'm the visionary at EJD Machacek, what we call EJDM CPA. We're CPAs in Canada that work with entrepreneurs and some different niches as well. But primarily our focus is on building better lives for our clients in an entrepreneurial type of way. So we are looking for entities that are growing, people that are struggling with certain things in the entrepreneurial space, and we love to help you in those things, and we have been doing so for quite a while, and we get a lot of reward out of that and satisfaction. So there's me on the screen. I've got a special guest presenter today. He's coming to us by video, Cory Hunt, friend of mine, that we really like what he does. He's co-founder of PRC Ventures. And you're going to hear a couple of minutes from him later on in the presentation, and you're going to enjoy that. He's a great speaker and great thinker, so I'm excited for that. And then that goes without thanks, often Caitlin Fancy in behind the scenes helping me organize things, and she will tell me when I'm not doing something right. So thanks, Caitlin, for that and for setting us all up and getting us organized. You do a great job of that. I'm excited to spend the time with you today. So let's get after it. Here's our objectives for today. The agenda in particular, first, like I always do, we're going to establish some common language, use some words that are familiar between all of us so that we know what we're talking about together. I think that's important to set the tone early on. We're going to look at growing and healthy, what that means in a business environment. We're going to look at some uncertainty and ceiling stories. That's what Cory's going to share with us at that point. And then we're going to step up to the tightrope and try to just envision what it looks like to walk on that, and then give you some tools at that point to start moving along and figure out how you're going to do it yourself in a time of uncertainty and when you face uncertainty. And then we'll wrap up with just a conclusion and some questions from you. Whatever comes up at the end is probably fair game. So that's what we're up to. But more importantly than that, I want us to have an objective of just having an open mind. And really what that means is we kind of forget maybe some of the things we've been taught or we've habitualized inside of ourselves, and sort of just think, okay, does this apply to me? How would I do this? Can I do this differently? So some of that just requires humbling ourselves and opening our mind to some different ideas and seeing what will happen out of that. So those are the objectives and what we're really after today. Let's get after it. I'm going to start with common language. So I'm going to go 3 words here. I'd like to do things in threes. I apologize for that. sort of. The common language first is entrepreneur. And what that means to me and what it means to you might be different. But really, an entrepreneur has ideas and invests resources to bring things to life. So there's different types of entrepreneurs, there's different variations and maybe ambition and aggression at which some people go about their business. But if you have ideas, or you're investing some resources to bring something to life, an idea, a thing, a product, whatever it is, you are an entrepreneur. You might be working for an entrepreneur. You might be wondering what they are about and why they're so weird. No, I don't know if that's the case that you're wondering, but that's what we're talking about. And so the entrepreneur is the who. Healthy is the second word. And what we want to look at here, I know it sounds weird in a business environment, but we are looking to try to grow to our best potential. And in order to do that, we need to be healthy. You can grow without being healthy, but it doesn't usually grow to what potential is. And so it's a key word. What's your potential? We want to try and make you healthy so that you can grow to that potential. And so that's the why. That's why we're here, help you grow into your potential. And then the last one is the system. System sounds boring to some people, but really a system can be a lot of things. In this context, it's the tools, it's the processes, it's the framework for which we go about mapping something out, envisioning it, carrying it out, and executing. So the way that these three are interacting is you're an entrepreneur. We want to make you healthy and you want to be healthy so you can grow to your potential. And oftentimes a system is going to help you do that. So we're going to get into that throughout the course of today. Those are our three things. System is the how. So we've got the who, we've got the why, we've got the how. Let's look at what today's big idea is. And here it is that uncertainty when you're in a growing business, so uncertainty for a growing business is relieved by getting healthy in a proven system. And I've highlighted the three words, and we're going to go over those again as well. You'll hear them again and again from me. I love these words. Uncertainty in a growing business, we want relief from that somehow, or a way to deal with it. And so we're working on getting healthy in a proven system, and that will get us that relief. And that's what I'm super excited to be able to talk about today. Nothing brand new in here in terms of you're not going to hear great wisdom that has just been invented. Some of these are from management principles from the past and different things that we've experienced over many years doing this with entrepreneurs. So let's keep moving along. That's our idea. Uncertainty for growing business is relieved, which we want you to have relief by getting healthy in a proven system. And so where we're going to start with that is in growing. What does it mean for a company to be growing? And I've got four things, but there's more than that. We're just going to look at them briefly here. The first is cash flow. As a growing company, you often struggle with cash flow because you're using up resources faster than a normal or in just a stagnant company. And you can kind of relate this to a person, an individual. When we grow, we're little kids, we grow, we need resources. We keep getting fed, we need exercise, we need nourishment in our brains, we need to be taught. There's just a significant amount of resources that goes into raising a child. And a business is not much different. It takes a lot of resource as you go and you keep growing, and somewhere that resource has got to get populated. So cash flow is often a struggle. We see it a lot of times and we pay attention to it. Profitability is the next one. Your ability to make a profit needs to increase when you grow. Otherwise, you shouldn't do it. In certain cases, now we're talking for-profit enterprises here, you need to be able to make a profit as you grow, because otherwise you won't have the cash flow to keep going. And there's other ways to do that. But if something is not going to be worth your while, and you're going to hear Cory talk about this later, don't do it. It's just not going to be a great idea. The third is customers or clients. Typically, in a growing organization, we want to be creating new customers. Perhaps we're getting more from existing customers, serving them better, serving them in a different way, or maybe even getting better customers. Maybe you started off with customers you didn't really like, and as you've grown, you recognize, oh, I need some better ones. There's got to be something better out there. So customers or clients are a key part of your growth in any organization. And then the fourth we've identified is revenue. And revenue needs to generally grow as well. Not always, but often. And that might be from a new revenue stream. Maybe you're refining what you've been doing in the past just to make it better, to create new revenue streams. And really the idea here is that if you stop thinking about where your revenue will be in the future, you will likely forget about it and it will start to slide. So growing company looking at revenue as well. So that's what growth is about. Like I said, just like as a person grows, your business grows, and we need to look at these things. But let's talk about how we do that in a healthy environment. And so healthy first starts with what we look at, which comes from the EOS model, is the 6 components. And what we say in this kind of environment is that 6 things need to be becoming healthy in your business as you mature and as you grow. And so those 6 things are these ones, and they're up on the screen. Vision. First of all, you need to be able to clarify your vision and carry it out throughout your whole organization and into the marketplace. Everyone needs to know it, and it needs to be healthy. People is the second one. Your people need to be healthy. Right people in the right seats, doing the right things. That has to happen, or your business will not be healthy, and it will suffer, and it won't experience the right growth. The third is data. Data is more important all the time, it seems, but you need to know data because you need to be able to monitor performance, understand what's going to happen, be a better predictor. So data is the third one. Issues. We know that in everybody's life and in every business, there are issues. And issues might just be things that tick you off. They might be things that are slowing you down from where you want to be. They might be opportunities you're not able to take or you haven't identified yet. Those are issues, and we want to work towards health in figuring those out and moving through them. The fifth one is processes. Process is something your business needs. You need to create, what is your way of doing something? What's the way? Is it work? Does it have value to other people? What's your process? And then lastly, traction, which really is just the, let's get after it. We get in a rhythm, we get in a meeting pulse, and we create some stability, which you're going to hear me talk about later as well. Stability through traction of just repeating things over and over and over again, not duplicating things, but repeating the system and the model. Some great healthy things out of that. So that's the 6 components. Predictability is the second piece of health that we want to look at, and that is really what the essence is. Sometimes in uncertainty is we don't know what to predict. We sometimes lag and go, oh, I just don't know what's going to happen, right? That's why we're uncertain with a result. And so predictability, I believe, is a skill and something that you can practice. And so my notes on here are that improving your ability to predict actually takes practice by, you guessed it, trying to predict things, taking a look at the data, trying to be healthy and saying, okay, I think this is going to happen out of this. And as you grow and mature, you'll start to see, oh, that's what did happen, or no, that's what didn't happen, and it will make you a better predictor. So healthy includes your ability to predict in your business in particular, sometimes in your personal life as well, for sure. Now, the third component of healthy, I think, is progress and performance. Are you paying attention to performance in your business right now? So when times of uncertainty, you got to be able to find what's happening right now. Show me what's going on. It's that data component a little bit. Your team won't perform in the right direction if you're not monitoring the right things, not identifying progress, not looking at performance. Have to be paying attention to what's going on and becoming healthy. And that is a journey over time that we want to help you work on. And then fourthly, resources. In a growing business, resources are scarce. You sometimes don't have enough of them. You rarely have too many of them. And so we are trying to find a way really to balance some things. And so when you're in a healthy environment, a business environment, you have balance between predictability, progress and performance, resources. They're all tying together, and you can see them from above and you can look at them. And your 6 components are getting healthy, the way EOS describes them as well. And so those are growing and those are healthy. That's what we want to be up to in terms of making your business ready to deal with uncertainty along the way. So I'm going to leave it there for a second, and we're just going to take a peek into some uncertainty stories. And here's where our guest of honor comes in. Cory Hunt is here from PRC Ventures. Cory has some great stories. I've listened to him before. I could listen to him all day because he just tells them in a great way. But he's been in leadership in both the nonprofit and for-profit world for the past 18 years. He's currently a co-founder of PRC Ventures, where he's involved in a bunch of businesses from mining, agriculture, agricultural manufacturing, finance, fintech, crypto, oil and gas, clean energy, SPACs, just to name a few. He's got his hand and his brain is wired into a number of those things. He's worked with Peter Lacey over the last 11 years or so, and they've got a clear path on how, as a team, they can add incredible value to the companies that they invest in. And so this is some real entrepreneurial stuff. He has an approach of doing deals that are fair for companies that he invests in and that he wants to help grow. And he thinks that's part of the success in launching PNC and what they're really about. Cory loves life and the adventure that it brings, and I've heard him over and over express that, and you can see it in the way he lives. And even for me, his ability to encourage anyone to become more than they thought they could be, it feeds his passion and those that support around him. So we're gonna get Cory on the video here, and I'm gonna give him a few minutes. Tune in for this. This is really good stuff, and just pay close attention to some of the things he says and the way he interacts with his thought on uncertainty.
Good day, everyone. I'm Cory Hunt. I'm from the booming metropolis of Lethbridge, Alberta. I'm the co-founder of a company called PRC Ventures. We're a company that typically invest in those companies and help them grow. I could fill likely an entire novel on times in my career where there have been uncertainty, but I have not actually experienced anything that has held me back. I think in any one of us who embark in the entrepreneurial journey, the only certainty that you actually will have is that there would be uncertainties. There's always going to be seasons of uncertainty, even waves in building a business. You're creating, usually you push really hard during a season, and maybe you can pull back, and in the soleil of the moment, in that moment of rest, you could experience some certainty. But if you've chosen to build something, then I think you're always going to be met with that. You're always going to be met with challenges along the way. I kind of look at life and business as simply a great adventure. So, having uncertainty isn't something that I found paralyzes me from moving forward. It's all part of the adventure. There's excitement, in that. I've also learned through the process of uncertainty that I can't make decisions in haste just to get to a place of certainty, because if you're anxious because of uncertainty, it can't make you make quicker decisions and make mistakes. Failing forward is one mantra that I've adopted in my life, and I've had some failures along the way, but willingness to fail forward and not allow that to keep you there. I think true failure is having an impact event in your life and then never getting back on the saddle, kind of thing. So just being willing to make mistakes and having a goal that you make more wins than you make mistakes by the end of your life, then it's worked out. If you're lucky enough to have jumped into being an entrepreneur, and you're among a few of the other crazies who are going through the same issues as yourself, we don't need to struggle through the challenges alone as well. So it's really important to find others that can support you in whatever it is that you're trying to do. Some people, they run with the I'm going to go it alone strategy, and sometimes the answer to the issue that you're being faced with can likely just be a phone call away. I've had some very interesting surprises with individuals who wouldn't realize how powerful the one statement they made through a conversation to me impacted my life to help me make the right iteration in whatever it is that I'm working on. And a couple other things I would say: making sure that you have rest in your life. So making sure that you have things that you can do, activities, hobbies, or whatever that you can put your mind to and enjoy, just giving your brain some rest, so that you're not consumed with whatever, maybe the anxiety is that you have, or the hesitation that you're dealing with. I look at life, I hope that God would grant me 100 years on this planet. That would be my long-term goal. If it all works out that way, it would be great. And if that's the case, I consider every year of my life a percentage point. So if I'm working on something, I won't give up quickly and easily. I'm willing to go through adversity, but sometimes you have to look at something and say, is this worth another % of my life? Would I give this another 0.5% of my life? we can make lots of money and all that can work, but we can't create more years. So we can't build more percentage points in our life. So being willing to dismount the horse and walk away sometimes is the right approach. And once you're out of the problem, you can start to be creative again and think through another adventure that you can go on.
Awesome. Thanks, Cory, for doing that, taking the time out to fill us in on a couple of things that you believe. I know Cory has had ups and downs, like many of us have, and has worked through them, and that's why we thought it was of such good value to have him here and share with you today. That idea, the concept that sometimes a percentage point of your life has a different value, and that's going to be different for all of us. I appreciate that. I also had the chance to talk with a number of clients over the years that in some cases we've had to say, hey, is this worth your effort? And sometimes they say no. And that's a tough conversation. It's a strategic one and it's difficult. And then sometimes they say, yeah, absolutely it is. But some of that is the motivation that drives us forward when we do actually sit back and internalize that and say, yeah, I believe that's worth a percentage point. I'm going to do it. You now have a motivation to really cross that tightrope, right? To stand at the edge of it and go, yep, I'm motivated to get across there because I've determined this deserves a percentage or a portion of my life and the time I have available. So a couple of things that stood out. I'm sure there's different things that stood out to you. And if you want to put those in the Q&A or whatever else, sure, by all means, let us know what resonated with you out of that. But my big point here is to get comfortable with uncertainty. We're going to try to mitigate it a little bit, but it will never go away. It will be there. And so thanks again, Cory, for your time. Appreciate always listening to you. Always has given me some great nuggets as well to keep moving ahead with. So let's talk about then, what is this tightrope idea? What are we up to? Where I came with this concept, which I've used for a little while in my own mind, is that the tightrope to me is a scary thing. I'm not super great with heights. I'm not maybe coordinated enough to walk along a wire in a certain fashion, but in business, it resonates with me because it's that fear or that concept that I'm standing at the edge of a canyon. And you can close your eyes and envision it if you want. I'm standing at the edge. I see across the other side of the canyon is the end of my tightrope, and there's something of value there that I need to get to, something that's driving me forward. And as I look across, I see that the drop down below is 1,000 feet down. So if I fall, it's the end of Everett. The wind's maybe gusting a little bit. The vultures are overhead, and they're just waiting for me to fall because they know that it's happened before, and they're ready to enjoy their lunch. And that uncertainty that comes, should I step onto the tightrope and go across? That's what we face in business, sometimes day in and day out, and especially in times of unpredictability. Feels like we face it a lot more. And so some signs that you're actually standing on that tightrope, or at least you're ready to begin, is, do you feel like you're balancing? Are you just wavering and having a really tough time, just trying to stay upright rather than flopping around the side of this wire? Some other signs, the stakes are high. If you make a mistake, something will matter. Someone's life will be affected. Might be your family, might be you, might be your employees, the people that rely on you. The stakes are high if you get it wrong. The third maybe is that there are some uncontrollable forces. That wind gust that comes along when you're balancing there, you can't control that, but you've got to be ready to adapt to it. And so you're being impacted in your business by something that's pushing you around. And in some cases, it's government or restrictions or all sorts of different things. There are many uncontrollable forces as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. And that's okay. We just have to recognize them. And then small errors, they can be amplified very easily. And so when I think about a tightrope, and I hope somebody shows me maybe how to do that. But when I'm on a wire like that, I can imagine it. If I start to bounce, it doesn't take long for that whole wire to be in a wave of bouncing, and small little mistakes would send me off the side. So if you feel like that in your business, like there's some things that resonate there, you're on the tightrope, or you're at least getting ready to be on it. And so let's talk about some tools and some ways that we can go forward from here, recognizing where we are, We can't change the past, but we can change the future now. And so let's take a look at what are some 3 approaches we can use on the tightrope. And there's 3 things you're typically going to experience. The first is just frozen. Cory referred to being paralyzed, and you just can't be. If you do nothing, you just stand at the edge and you watch. And that's the reality for a number of people, is we get frozen in this state of uncertainty. We don't have the tools, maybe we don't have a few things, and we're going to walk through that in a minute. But we hesitate, and so we don't do anything. And then that leads us to hesitating, and maybe we eventually move, but hesitating is the second spot. It's kind of that check yourself. Okay, what will I do next? And failing to decide or react, especially on the tightrope when you're walking it, could be disastrous. If you hesitate too long, as you're starting to lean over on the tightrope, you'll just keep leaning over and you'll fall right off. So being prepared to not hesitate, being prepared to react and adjust as you go along, that that wind burst comes up and you're ready to adjust and your body's fit and ready, then you're not hesitating. And that is the commit. So facing the conflict, deciding, ready to adjust and adapt. And we want you to be there as an entrepreneur, ready to not be frozen. Sometimes you're going to hesitate, but we can't hesitate too long. We've got to commit and keep moving and keep our one foot in front of the other as we walk across that rope. So let's look at 3 things specifically, and I'm going to relate them to the tightrope walker, which has a specific name, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. Anyway, we're going to look at first the net. Okay, so the net, not the internet, the net that you would put underneath the rope if you to keep you safe from falling. So if I fall off the tightrope when I'm training and there's a net underneath me, I am safe. Generally, I still might be a little bit afraid, but it's there all the time, and it addresses the biggest risk that you've got, which is falling off. And so when tightrope walkers practice, they would practice either low to the ground, so that falling off doesn't hurt, or they would use a net so that falling off doesn't hurt. And in business, we want the same thing to happen. We want you to have a net of some kind that's going to keep you safe if you fall off, or at least limit the damage of something happening. And so some of the ways you can do that are, first, to get a strong advisory team. Cory referred to asking for help. And sometimes a net is just that, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. How does that sound to you? And you're gonna hear yeah, or no. That's the net that is kind of trying to keep you safe. And in business, you have to know your risk areas, meaning what's your biggest risk? On a tightrope, I know my biggest risk is falling off. In business, depending on the business you're in, your risk will be different, but you have to recognize it and understand what it is. If I fall off of this, how badly is it going to hurt? The third piece there is, don't cut too many corners. You can imagine that net, if I never maintain it, I just let it sit down there, and potentially it erodes or gets weaker. If I do fall, I land on the net and it doesn't actually save me. I fall right through. So in your business, you can't cut too many corners. You have to keep things maintained and pay attention to them routinely. And that's that meeting pulse that I kind of talk about. And then fourthly, to assess your opportunities. I know that in business, I need to be looking out for what's next. Where am I going along that tightrope? And does the net need to be moved? Is it in the same place? Do I have to push it along? And so the first concept is the net. Find a way to know your biggest risks and figure out ways to get people around you or understand how you can keep safe, so that if you do fall, you don't fall very far, or you are comfortable when you land, at least. And that is sometimes tricky. Sometimes our pride gets in the way of asking for help, putting a net down there at the bottom. And I'm encourage you to find others to help you be accountable in that section. The second tool is the pole. So a tightrope walker will carry often something in their hands. The best ones, I don't think, probably have to, but I would want the longest one, if that's an option, to carry in my hands to help me balance. And so what that does, I've learned in tightrope walking, is it actually spreads the weight further across this wire and helps you adjust faster, or at least lets you react differently to the uncontrollable forces, or when you lose your balance. And so they use a pole and carry it because it spreads that time out, allows you time to adjust, and it makes it easier to walk the wire. And in business, we need the same thing. We need something that will give us time to adjust and help spread the weight out so that it's a little bit easier for us to do. And so some of those tools are first simplifying, make it easier for your team to do their job, for your customers to interact with you, for even for yourself to think, to have the time you need to be able to be ready and prepared. Simplify is such a huge piece, and I often get it wrong too, but I keep working on it and keep working on it. Try to make things more simple. EOS refers to less is more. We always are trying to make less because we can do more then, which is great. The second part there is monitor your progress. So as I'm walking along with the pole out, it's stretched out and I'm walking along the wire, I've got to be attentive to what's going on, right? And so monitoring how I'm doing, as soon as I feel a shift to the side, I'm going to adjust my pole. It's going to help me balance. And in business, the same thing applies. You have to keep paying attention to your progress. How am I doing? Am I shifting? Am I falling off? Because I need an adjustment. And that requires some effort and to be convinced that progress and performance is necessary to measure and monitor. The third is learn some new tools and methods. I don't know who first decided they should grab a pole and carry it across a wire or a log or whatever it was. But they at that point grabbed a new tool and said, oh, hey, look at this. This works better for me crossing a tightrope or something that I need to balance on. And physics can explain that, I believe, to us now. But that may not have always been our motivation. It might just have been getting across. So be willing to learn some new tools and some new methods that will help you cross better across the wire. That makes it easier. And then the fourth one, like Cory mentioned, is ask for help. Sometimes people, not sometimes actually, quite often I've found people are willing to help you. They will give you advice. Some people you don't want their advice, but many people will, and they're good natured. They'll give you advice. They'll help you out. They'll point you in the right direction. And I know Cory's good at that as well, at saying, oh, I know so and so, he can help you do this, or this gal over here, she can take this and make this happen for you. Those are some great connections to have. So don't be afraid to express where you're struggling and ask for help. Somebody will be willing to reach out and give you that help to help make it easier for you. So we've got the net keeping us safe. We've got the pole that makes it easier to cross the wire. And then let's think about the wire itself, focusing on the plan. So the wire's there, it's from here to another spot across the canyon. I've got to get there. But I know that when I'm walking on that wire, I better be fully engaged in the moment. And that means I'm not thinking about breakfast or what hockey game is on later. I'm engaged in the wire. It and I are one. We're trying to figure this out together, and I'm moving along. And so I've got to be fully in that moment, focused on the plan ahead of me. But it actually means I need a plan, and I need to be prepared, and I need to practice more than anything. Especially for someone like me who's never walked across a real tightrope. I've got to practice, I think. It makes sense that I wouldn't just try that for the very first time and be successful at it. I need to work at it. I've got to understand it. I've got to know what's going to happen a little bit when I actually step on that wire. So be prepared and practiced. And in business, here's how it works. It means you don't let shiny things get in the way. And I have people that help me stay away from too many shiny things because I've recognized it's a thing I like shiny things. In business, I like new ideas. Some of the vision casting that I do with clients, even I like shiny things for them. And so I need some system of keeping me in check and helping me understand when something is a shiny thing or when it's a great part of the plan I'm in, walking along that wire. And you might need the same thing. Find a proven system. I believe this is critical in any business, is to have some systems that you can rely on day in and day out to keep you in check. And that's just the habit of walking on the wire, one foot in front of the other along the way. And a proven system will help you move that and just keep that rhythm going. The third is get a coach or a mentor. I've been lucky to have had a few different coaches and mentors in my career, and they've all had an impact on me where if I stood here today, I would totally be a different person if I hadn't engaged others and asked them for help. Hey, can you coach me in this? I need some mentorship in this area. I need to know more about this. I need to figure this out. Bringing those people together, and it might cost you some money, yes, but they will make you better. And they will help you move along your wire towards a plan, and you'll find a different person at the other end of it that is improved and is healthier. And then the fourth is debate and commit. So I might stand at the edge of the canyon looking across the wire. There it is out there. I can see the other side. It's in the distance. At this point, I've got an internal conflict that is, should I step onto that wire? What should I do? And I need to figure that out, wrestle with it. But once I commit, I go. And off we go. We're going across the wire, and we're prepared for it. I'm fully in the moment. I'm engaged in that, what's going on, and I'm on the races. So in business, the critical piece here really is create a plan, stick to it, practice it, grow your muscle in those pieces, and then keep going. And every now and then, yeah, you're going to look around and go, okay, am I on the right wire still? I'm still making good progress. Yep. Okay, good. Let's keep going. Although Cory did talk about those times where you have to say, hey, I'm engaged in this. I committed here, but I recognize that I'm not willing to give any more percentages of this in particular. And then you might have to just jump off that wire. Hopefully you've got a net below. And so there are times where you have to reevaluate, and this might be one of them for you. You might be sitting there saying, yeah, I'm at that spot. Can I jump off? And there's great stories about that, about those who have jumped off and said, oh, thank goodness I jumped off. Yeah, it hurt for a while. It changed my life. It changed who I am. But I had to jump off, and it was the best thing I did. Or you might say, yeah, let's keep going. I'm engaged in this. So the net is going to keep you safe. The pole is what we use to make it easy. And then the wire is the plan. Okay, we're on the wire. Here we go. We're going to debate and we're going to commit. So how do we do that in some more practical business ways? And I think here's where we need to take this conversation. I'm going to narrow it down a little bit in here in a second, specifically for what we love to do. But really, you've got to get your body in shape and ready to walk on that wire is the idea. And your business is the same thing. You've typically got three key parts of your business that have to function well. In EOS, we look at this a lot when we're implementing. You've got a sales and marketing function that is working on generating new or additional revenue. And you have to have that in order to keep customers coming in the door, sales being made, people that want your service, whatever it is you're doing. There has to be some component of selling and marketing. People have to know you exist and you're great at doing what you do. So that has to be healthy, and we need to practice. There's some muscles we have to exercise in there. The second is operations. Your operations team needs to be able to carry it out. And at this point, it might just be you operating, or you might have other people that work for you. But either way, you need to make your product or service in a way that creates better lives for other people and be able to provide that value and show that. And they have to be good at it. It means they're efficient. That means they love to do it. They're looking for innovation, things like that. Operations need to be strong so that when your sales and marketing team sells something, we know that your operations team can fulfill it, do it really well, and keep moving on. And then the last part of that is the finance and accounting function, which takes that money and makes good use of it, allocating resources across your business in the right way, with the right balance. Again, that word comes up, so that you don't run out of money, that you're collecting on time, that you're paying your bills, those types of things, that you're planning cash flow in advance. Remember, we talked about that in a growing company. Cash flow is a problem. That's what your finance and accounting team's doing. And that's the area that we love to talk about. And so I'm going to just poke around a little bit at how do we get stronger in that one in particular. And if you'd like to know more about the other two, by all means, reach out and we'll try to connect you with somebody that can help you with improving operations and sales and marketing. But where we look the most is finance and accounting. And it's one of the areas that a lot of the clients we've worked with over the years, entrepreneurs, struggled with a little bit. And so that's why it's great importance to us, because we can see better lives by talking about it. And so let me take a look at that. What is that? How do we get stronger in finance and accounting? And it often is one of the areas that gets, I don't know, neglected maybe isn't the right word, but it's the afterthought of, I need to go make money. I need to go perform this service. I need to go create this product. And it's the later on, oh, how do I keep track of that? Oh, how do I do my record keeping? Oh, my accountant needs this and this and this. And so we're going to look at four kind of pillars that I like to look at in finance and accounting. The first is getting strong compliance. So understanding, remember when I talked about the wire, what's our biggest risk? It's falling off the wire. Well, in finance and accounting, some of the biggest risk is, will I run out of cash? Will I make the government mad? Will I not file my taxes? What are the biggest things that will slow you down and make you really fall off the wire, so that when that doesn't happen, you don't get hurt? So strong compliance is key. To pay attention, to know your risk areas that are specific to you and be able to adapt to them and understand what you're doing to mitigate those risks. Second is accounting tactics. And tactics are the things you utilize to fulfill some strategy. And so that might be the tools you use, the data you have. Is it real time? Is it online so everybody can share it? Is it giving you the right information? And so some of those tactics are a significant part, and you actually need to exercise that muscle, practicing it, looking at it, understanding what they do. It's not just a once a year type of thing. The third is strategic advice. How do we get stronger in finance and accounting? You get good advice. And Cory referenced asking for help. That's what we're talking about here. How do I do this? Where do I go for this? What am I looking forward in my accounting and my finance, or am I just looking backwards historically and figuring out what I'm going to do from there? Strategic advice is different than just regular advice. It means we're looking at strategy and its big picture, and those things are key for you as you're growing, and certainly when you're uncertain. And then the fourth one, which gets a little bit washed under the rug, is 365-day communication. You need to be able to communicate internally with your team well. And a lot of that is data, but a lot of it is accountability. And I don't mean accountability like discipline, saying, hey, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. Accountability is that function that you create inside of your organization that lets everybody know this is what we're up to and who's accountable to achieve certain actions. And when we do those actions, we're going to get across the wire. But I've got to know that when I get to the edge of the canyon, somebody brought the pole, because I'm going to need that to walk across the wire. And if we all look around and say, who brought the pole, and nobody was accountable for it, I've got nobody to blame but myself in my business, because I should have given somebody accountable for bringing that pole to the tightrope walk. So those are the ways to get stronger in finance and accounting. And we use a bit of a system internally and with some of our clients that is a way of recognizing those four things. And this is we developed after a number of years of working with entrepreneurs and finding these gaps, and really these entrepreneurs kind of stuck out in the middle of a wire with no way of being strong in the finance and accounting segment of their business. And so we look at three things. Again, I told you three. First, we build an annual plan. You need an annual plan for your business, no matter what. Nobody can argue with me that you don't need one. I would walk away from the conversation, I think, because it's so valuable in your business to know what you're up to and where you're headed. Otherwise, you don't know what's at the other end of the tightrope. You're just walking along a rope somewhere. So we build an annual plan, and that works in the accounting and finance function as well. You need to know what that function's up to and what you're going to look for this year. Build an annual plan. The second is balance your resources. And this requires a bit of guesswork. Sometimes it's that predictability we talked about, but you've got to take the resources you have and say, okay, we're going to balance them this way. We're going to send some to sales and marketing. We're going to send some to operations. We're going to keep a little bit here for capital improvement. We're going to keep a bit over here in R&D. We're going to spend some money on technology. We're going to spend this and this. That budget, that plan, which is part of your annual plan, needs to be monitored and balanced. You can't let one group run off and just do a whole bunch of things. Your business will find that it becomes too much of a resource drag. And so it's up to you as a business leader, entrepreneur, whatever function or role you're in, to help balance the resources so everybody gets a share of what they need to keep moving ahead. And then the third one, like I've mentioned before, is to predict and monitor performance. So being able to predict, like I said, is a skill we need to exercise. We need to practice it. As a leader, you become better at it over time as you mature. But it is important to let your team know we need to monitor performance, and not because we want to, find ways for you to be in trouble. Monitoring performance is about how do we live up to our potential. Remember, we talked about growing, that healthy growth is designed to get to potential. Normal growth can get me here, but if I'm healthy, I can actually grow to my potential. And that's, as humans, what I believe we're designed to get to, is that potential. And we hope that this helps along the way. So the entrepreneurial accounting system really holistically looks at those things. Let's build a plan together. Let's figure out a way to balance your resources. And now let's keep predicting and monitoring. How are we doing? Are we hitting it? Are we making it? Are we getting across the wire? Has the wind blown us off already and we didn't even know? Those types of conversations we have to have. And really what that does for us is three things. Keeps us safe. It makes it easy for us to interact in business, and it helps with the plan so that we know where we're headed along the way. And I hope you can tie all that back in around and put it in the uncertainty box that says, if you're uncertain, having a growing and healthy business through a proven system is what's going to relieve some of that uncertainty, because now you feel safer. Now you know it's easier, and you're prepared and you're ready. You have help with that plan that's going to get you across the tightrope to the other side. So the uncertainty hasn't disappeared, but you're mitigating it and you're working on it, and you've found a way to relieve some of that along the way. And so that's what I've got for you today on walking the tightrope. I hope that's an analogy that sticks in your mind, that when you come to the next big decision or something you need to work on, and you understand the tools, the net, the pole and the wire, they all interact together, and you can't ignore one of them, or you will fall off the wire potentially. I know I will, and have in the past. And so thank you for listening, for engaging with me in this time. I hope you had an open mind and were able to wrestle with some of those things, and might go away from here with some new ideas for yourself. Shoot us a text or a note if something in there resonated with you later and it's made a difference in what you're up to, or the way you changed your approach in your business in particular. If you have questions, by all means, email us, connect@ejdworks.ca. We are here to help build your healthy, growing business with you and guide you along the path in the areas that we know how, which are finance and accounting. And we love that stuff, and we want to see you succeed. So by all means, reach out to us there. And now I'm going to leave some time. I was pretty close to my 45 minutes. Let's leave a live Q&A. It's your turn. If you have a question or something you want to bring up, use the Q&A button there on your screen. Ask your question, and we'll answer them in the order we get them, or as we can, or if they're grouped together or whatever. Like I said, if you have a question for later and you just want to reach out privately, go ahead. We're happy to talk with you about what's up with you. And we just love to hear stories of entrepreneurs and what's going on in business. So I'm going to leave it at that. Caitlin's going to, I hope, pop back on and join me in a second. And let's see how we are doing, or how we did. And Caitlin, I think you're there, right?
Yeah, I am here. I coming in loud and clear there. So I do have a couple questions that have popped in, either through email or before the webinar started. So one of the questions here that came in is, with COVID coming to an end in Alberta, especially with July 1 right around the corner, how can my accountant help me stay balanced on this tightrope? And why is my accountant such a great resource during this time?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, all across Canada, as COVID is wrapping up in different places, and we're seeing spikes and things like that, we've noticed over the last year and a half in particular, that we have become, as an accounting firm, we've become much more engaged in our clients' lives, specific with filing subsidy things, even just identifying what's available for our clients. And so, those things we reached out, many times to all of our clients and asked, hey, are you doing this? What about this? And so I would encourage, if you are in that industry doing accounting, that you are reaching out to your clients, helping them along the way, asking them, hey, are you using this? Are you using this? Some of the subsidies that are available. But for some clients in particular, that the subsidy wasn't enough to keep their business going or moving. those are the biggest struggles, and your accountant is going to be integral in helping you understand what your next steps are. So it's a bit of that planning piece. You might not be safe any longer or feeling safe. You might not think it's very easy because it's not. You're in a difficult spot, but you need somebody to help you with that plan. So engage with your accounting team if you've got one regularly. We use a model here we call unlimited contact, meaning you can phone us anytime. Because no question is a dumb question when it's causing uncertainty in your mind or suspicions that you need to figure out. So give them a call, ask them the question, and just see if you can get some advice on what's next, and get some help with that one, because they typically have seen other clients that are in the same boat that you're in. Yeah, does that answer your question, Caitlin?
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good. Another question here came in. It's it was. What do you think is the biggest tightrope challenge that owners face and get knocked off for, that maybe they should try harder or possibly just adjust their balance for it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like Cory said in his video, every entrepreneur has uncertainty. By getting into that game and deciding to build something or start a business, you have to recognize that there will be some. And so I know for me, and this is more personal analogy than anything, but for me, I get at spots in my entrepreneurialism where I get frustrated or down, and it's usually because there's something I don't know. It's either I lack information, somebody's not giving me the information I'm hoping for, I don't know how to solve a problem. So when I see other entrepreneurs and business owners hit periods of what I call not extreme frustration, but significant frustration, it's often because they have suspicions and hunches, but they don't know how to solve the problem. And so when I hit those spots myself, and I've seen other people do the same thing, they have to actually physically make a resolve to, I'm going to solve this, but it doesn't mean you have to solve it yourself. You just need to find somebody to help you do it. And so I look at those moments of uncertainty, and it might be about a staffing decision, which I think is critical right now. We interact with a lot of entrepreneurs who actually have a difficult time finding the right people for their business. Might be on cash flow, like we talked about, those growth factors. Struggling with cash. How do I go get more money? And we just helped a client, not that long ago, go and create a relationship with a lender to get them a few $1 million that they needed to build a piece of something. But in order to do that, we actually had to walk through the process of planning it out, showing the value, showing the investment, understanding what's at risk, like we talked about on the tightrope. And the bank was able to get that. And I know Cory has referred to me stories in the past as well about, companies not being able to access capital, couldn't get money, couldn't find this, and just needed to engage with the right partners who helped create that model and that communication to relay what they're trying to do. So all that boils back down to, when I find periods of uncertainty, sometimes I just have to go find the who is going to help me solve this problem, and it sort of alleviates the problem from my mind. It's really peculiar how that happens. It's like and I'm sure there's some sort of psychological or subconscious way it works, but it's that uncertainty that keeps us dragged down. And as soon as we engage help or ask somebody, I need help with this, and I'm willing to get you engaged with me, the uncertainty, or at least the anxiety from it, just dissipates a whole bunch, and you can get back on the wire and keep walking. Is what I've found, and stories I hear, and even in my own experience, Caitlin. Yeah, that's a long-winded answer to your question. Sorry.
That was good. That was really good. I explained it from the beginning to end, so it was perfect. Then we had another question come in. Will you have a handout to save or print for this topic later or after?
Oh, good question. I'd be happy to email. I can email you the whole slide deck. I don't have notes in there specifically because it's not the way I present historically. It comes from my soul rather than from reading off a piece of paper. But yeah, by all means, if you want to reach out, connect ejdworks.ca, and we'll send you the slide deck, and you can take that home with you and look at it later. I think that's totally doable. I hope it is. I'm speaking.
There you go. There you go. So we're just wrapping up here. Last 5 minutes. You know, what mantra? You know, Cory talks about a mantra. What mantra do you latch on to push yourself through? You know, uncertainty as an entrepreneur. Is there something that really just sticks with you and you just keep it with you?
Yeah, for me individually, I'm thinking maybe is the question, because each person will have their own. Cory's was the 100%, right? I'm going to live to 100. So I've got 1%, 1 percentage point for every year. Am I willing to invest in that 1% this year? Because I'm not getting it back. And when I talk to other entrepreneurs and we work through the frustrations, a lot of it is that question. We find ourselves, especially creative people, find themselves in periods of self-doubt, where they have to, am I doing the right thing? Am I building the right product? Is anybody gonna come? You know, it's not like the what was the movie where if they build it, it was the baseball diamond. If we build it, they will come. Type of idea that doesn't always work in business. You can build really things that you think are pretty cool and nobody shows up to play baseball. And so a lot of things in there, when I need to come back out of that dip, that self-doubt, that I'm not sure, which is uncertainty, right? That's what we're after here. A lot of it is getting back in connection with who I am and what I'm doing this for. So I don't know that my motivation has a specific phrase as coined as nicely as Cory's does, and maybe I have to. But when I think again about what am I up to and who's this for? This is for my family, and for the greater purpose that I am. That's where I go back, and it's almost like I can flick that switch on and go, oh, right, I forgot. You know, I was doing this and this and this, and really what I'm up to is building better lives. So as a firm, that is really our why. It's why we exist at all, is just to build better lives for people. And for me, I think the reason why it is probably because it lets me just flick that switch again. I click it and I go, oh yeah, right. I'm building better lives. And now I've got that aha. Now I'm ready to re-engage. And it gives me a bit of that perseverance to keep pushing, and actually the motivation to move along. So that for me, probably, Caitlin, is what drives me. Can I build a better life out of this? Okay, I should do that. Let's go do that again. Yeah, I like that.
All right, perfect. Well, I don't have anything else in the Q&A section for you, Everett. We are winding down here, and yeah, we'll go from there.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, Caitlin, for helping me out in the back. Thanks for watching and attending, and I hope you get some great nuggets out of that. I realize it's a lot of things, and I can only dig really deep into a couple of little areas and the things that we love, which is finance and accounting. But if you have other questions that you think about later, reach out, let us know. Happy to connect with you and see how we can help you build a better life for yourself in times of uncertainty. So again, I'm Everett. We're EJDM, CPAs in Canada, and we love to help build better lives of people. And I hope that this week and into the coming weeks, you can have a better life because of what we've done here today. So thanks, and we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, Caitlin, and we'll see you all again.
Definitely see you later, Everett.
Yep.